My next guest is the owner of Midwest Music in downtown Norfolk. Chad, thanks for making time to be here today.
Hey, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
No problem. I'm glad to have you on. I'm glad we got it to work out.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I'm Zach Miller with my co-host Vance Ryne Sat.
Thanks for stopping in, Chad.
And we are touching base with Chad Barnhill today. Let's kind of get started. I don't know how many people would know your background, so if you're okay with maybe getting a little bit of your background, then we can start that.
Yeah, I'm the music man of Norfolk.
Right.
Own several businesses here in town. I'm actually what a lot of people see me as a face on is Midwest Music Center. Yeah. Been with them for many years and took ownership back in 2008 is when there. So I started working there in '96.
Wow.
So been there quite a long time. Then, but along with that, though, actually, I'm on the road a lot with piano tuning. So I have Barnhill Piano Service.
Okay.
So I actually am a piano tuner. Been doing that for 21 years.
Wow.
Took over that business from Keith Matthews here, who was a local tuner and just was looking to get out of the trade. And so I did an apprenticeship with him way back in the day. And so it's been days out on the road working on pianos.
Yeah.
Also have a crazy little basement business called Premier Batons. So when you look at the band directors that are out on the stage, that stick that's in their hand, a lot of them I actually have sold. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
We're one of the, there's actually, it was a niche market that came into us. So it's a really cool thing. And we sell them worldwide. Been doing that since the late 90s, early 2000, and probably have sold 80, 90,000 of these things.
Do you make those, or do you?
My dad used to back in the day, and then when he got frail and then finally aged out and has since passed away, but I had actually transferred over to one of my employees, Ty Anderson, and he was doing that for a while out of his shop. And then he had moved to Kansas, and so he actually is still kind of helping a little bit along with my brother. But I have actually other people making them, so I'm the marketer and seller of them.
That's pretty cool.
No, like custom designs and stuff? Or?
Yeah, custom shapes. There's different woods and shapes and lengths in there, so different varieties. And then we sell them to online, sell them to music stores, distributors overseas. I got several clients in Great Britain, Japan, things like that. You know, it's really kind of cool. Kind of a little market there.
So I'm going to back up even further. Where did you grow up?
Grew up in southeast Nebraska. Grew up on a farm. Last name's Barnhill. Grew up next to a town called Barnston, Nebraska.
There you go.
And we actually had a barn on a hill. But went to school at Wymore Southern, southeast Nebraska, so south of Beatrice. Lived 4 miles from the Kansas border, and then graduated high school at Wymore, and then shot up to Wayne State. And,
is that kind of what brought you to the area, was Wayne State?
Yeah, Wayne State. I went to music camp actually there as a high school and really fell in love with the campus. And when I did my campus tour, I just noticed that one of the key things is when I was walking around campus, people actually said hi. So it's still kind of hometown, small town type of feel there. And so it really drew me there and had a good music department. I went in as education and found out in the first 6 months, no way, man, I don't want to be a teacher. So I did music business. So I graduated with I was the very first music business graduate with a master's there, or not a master's, just a bachelor at Wayne State with a minor in business administration.
Really? That's that's really cool to be the first one to come out of there like that.
Yeah.
I started doing something like that at Kearney. Music business, just because I have a love for music, but I just didn't fall through. But it was a lot of fun learning about the history of music and things like that.
Yeah.
So obviously you were a part of band in high school.
Yes.
What was your instrument of choice?
Drummer, big time drummer in high school. So that was really drew me into the music department. I gave actually a lot of lessons as I was later in high school and like that. But I was a big drummer back in the day.
Good. So when did your love for music kind of start?
I started drum lessons in 4th grade. I remember taking my first drum lesson at Barnston Elementary with Yvonne Pettit.
Good memory?
Yeah, I can't believe I remember that. But she was my music teacher, and I just fell in love. Her son actually was a really good drummer. And I thought it was cool. And I remember him coming to school one day, and she invited him in, and he set up his big drum set and played, and I just fell in love with the drums. I had a couple brothers that played a little bit, but I just took the passion for it, and I really dove in and bought my first drum set from Knowles Music in Beatrice, and it was a little Ludwig red, white, and blue American-looking sparkly thing that I wish I had today, because I think I probably bought it for a couple $100, and it's probably worth a couple $1,000 now. Right. I don't know where it's at.
That's crazy. I wish so I started on the saxophone. I kind of wish I would have chose the drums. It was between those two,
Okay.
but because isn't drums kind of more you can branch out into more instruments?
Yeah.
Piano, guitar.
Yeah, it's kind of based in the sense like they want, as a percussionist, you should know your piano background because if you're playing in band, they want you to be playing xylophone, chimes, marimba, which is piano based, and then all the auxiliary percussion. So not only are you playing snare drum, you're playing timpani and bass drum and tambourine and cowbell, and there are techniques to all that. You know, it's just not hitting it.
It's not just I need more cowbell.
yeah,
I got a fever.
So did Wayne State have a band too, or they not? Do they?
Yeah.
Were you in
So
that
Wayne,
too?
Yep. So at Wayne State, I was in marching band and jazz band and orchestra and all the music stuff that's really involved there. So it was real big. Marching band was really big there. So I was in marching band. I was at the football field. I was the beanie boy. I was the comedian at football games. A lot of people watched me more than the football game, and I was the guy with the beanie on his head. So
Nice.
the helicopter thing, not just a beanie, like a real helicopter thing.
Right. So being involved in all that, I mean, how'd you keep the balance between doing all that and schoolwork and having a personal life too?
Yeah, yeah, it's something you learn. I learned a lot of time, and I always say I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Right.
That you just don't sleep a lot. You spend a lot of time early mornings when you're in the music field at Wayne State. It was a lot of early morning classes, like an 8 o'clock class, and throughout the day. But then all the ensemble stuff was later day, so it might be 5, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock class of orchestra or something like that later in the day. So it was long days. But I just wouldn't have had a passion of music. It was always music based. A lot of it was like that with a few things in between. So it was just that passion.
Didn't really feel like work.
Yeah, it didn't
Felt
feel
more
like
like
work
fun.
in class. Yeah, it was fun sometimes. But then I would say I put in my 4 years. You know,
Yeah.
I got out of there and survived. But it was a good challenge. Like I say, it was just that thing of you didn't focus on the fact of how much sleep you're getting. You're like, get a nap in here and do like that, keep moving forward and keep getting better.
Right. So going from Wayne State, how did you then come to Norfolk? Or
Yeah.
did you travel
Nope.
in between there?
I was living in going to school at Wayne, and I started at Midwest Music Center. So Midwest Music Center, before Midwest Music Center was Tom's Music in downtown Norfolk.
I remember
Tom's,
that.
Yeah, they've been there for over 40, almost, 50 plus years. I don't know how long they were there, but Larry Jones was working for Tom's Music and had the opportunity, and things just didn't go together where he wanted to buy Tom's Music. It just didn't happen, and so he ended up opening his own music store in the corner of 4th and Norfolk Ave. And shortly after they opened up, actually, a music professor introduced me to Larry Jones at a conference. Said, "Hey, this kid's going to school for music business. He'd probably be a great candidate to work at your store." And so that was kind of pretty much the interview right there. And I started working part-time. So I was working part-time at Midwest Music Center and going to school. So I'd travel back and forth, pretty much go classes in the morning, drive over to Norfolk, work through the day, and then drive back for stuff at night.
Wow.
And that was home, there until eventually I graduated in 97. So then when I graduated in 97, then that's when I moved into Norfolk and had a house here. And did
So
that.
kind of been there you've been involved at Midwest Music ever since?
Yeah, since pretty real close to when they opened. Just a few months after they opened is when I started working with them. And then again, the opportunity of back in the day being downtown all that time, and then again the opportunity to take it over in 2008. My wife and I.
Is that when? Because you guys, the store moved, right?
It stayed at 4th at Norfolk Ave when I owned it, and then we moved it in about 2011.
Okay, I couldn't remember
yeah.
when that move happened. Was that a pretty good transition for you?
Yeah, it was a good move. In that time frame of when I took over, I say we, my wife and I. My wife is actually 51% owner of the music store, so she's my boss. So she, it's
Just
funny.
in business, or
It was a business trip thing. We went back in 2008 when you went into the banker and we talked to RJ Gall. RJ Gall is a guy here in town. And,
He's a great guy.
yeah, and I remember he was my banker at Bank First, and he said, "Here's the deal, Chad. If you're going to be 51% owner I've got a stack of paper and it's going to take us 2 or 3 days. We're going to get all like that. If you put your wife at 50% owner, I got 3 or 4 pieces of paper we can sign and we can be done here in a couple hours.
That was a big push for the small woman-owned business time frame.
Yep, that was women, minority, and military. Yep. If you could just real quick. So she's 51%. Anyways, so that was interesting in that. But yeah, in time when we took over the store, we had the opportunity to actually open a second store, and we did in Lincoln at the time. So we actually opened one over on Havelock, North Lincoln.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And yeah. So which is another kind of a historic looking downtown part of Lincoln, and we were the only music store north of O Street. Well, just like if you remember back in the time, 2009, 2010, 2011, business was, I mean, I took it over and things were going solid, and then boom. Wow, yeah, a lot of stuff happened. A lot of stuff happened in there, and so things didn't go as planned in Lincoln, but there was a great opportunity to expand the Norfolk store with the Gearys, who they were doing a lot of renovating of downtown, and so that store, the old Hested's in that area, I think it used to be a pet store, but Nebraska Appliance actually used to have their storage where we were, right? Because they were down, but they were remodeling that, and we had a great opportunity to move from over and get bigger locations. So we closed the Lincoln store and tripled our size of the Norfolk store, and it was a great decision.
You guys have a lot in there too.
Yeah,
I was just in there twice in the last week.
Yeah, getting those cables. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah. I get, like I say, my commercial we throw on there. We don't have everything, but we have a lot. You know, so that's kind of the big thing.
And you can get most everything,
right? I mean, if I can't, if it's not there, we can get it, and or not everything, but we try our best, and that's the way it's always been. Is we can't put it all in the store. We're not that big of a store to be able to do that.
When you don't want something sitting on the shelf for
right. Yes, dollars on the shelf.
You have to have the customer base to be able to have that much stuff too.
Right.
And we're kind of limited in the amount of people that are around here.
Exactly.
I mean, there is a lot of people in the area, in the hub, but you're still limited on the amount.
Yeah. And we took the big philosophy of Norfolk is a lot of beginners. We have some professional musicians and solid, but we have a lot of beginners and a lot of people who want to learn, and that's always continual. So we focus on that. That's what we have at our store. We have the picks and the strings and the sticks and the things that are getting you started.
And the books. And
yeah. So if you need something a little bit extra, we can order that, and it doesn't take but a few days actually to get it in. I have suppliers that are, if I order on Tuesday, it's in on Friday. If I order on Friday, it's in on Tuesday. So just a few days, it's in.
I think it only took 2 days for the cables that you had to give me.
Yeah, those come out of Wisconsin actually for my supplier there. But there's that actually UPS trip is just 2 days, so it's super easy for me to get stuff for them.
That's great, and you're very knowledgeable.
You got it, education yourself, educating on things, reading up on things, following up what the new trend is. People are coming in and asking questions. If I don't know it, I'm going to research it for them. That's the other thing is, the internet is fantastic for that in the sense of like I can find the answer. If I can't get the answer, I'm going to find someone who does, and help that customer out.
Well, it helps when you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
It's like me when they told you what I was looking at. I'm like, I really don't know what's going on. I went in to see if he could help us. There's some equipment that I had that I wanted to kind of have talk to each other, and we kind of brainstormed it, and we figured out it wasn't going to work. So we went a different route.
Yeah, and now it works. It's in there. But so that's what a lot of what we do. Like today was like example of today. Like I started off tuning a piano in Wisner, jumped in the van, drove to Pender, and had to jump in the school, and they're updating their sound system in the gym and want a bunch more wireless mics, but I got to figure out all the frequencies to make sure they're going to go in there. And then jumped over to another church, or a church just down the block, who was wanting to put in some new speakers, and they had 30 questions when I got there, and I think I answered 29 of them, and they were super, super happy. And then jumped on to where'd I go to Lions to tune a piano, and there, and then back here for this. So
wow,
that's busy, my day.
Busy day. Busy. It makes your day go fast, huh?
Yeah. It's always on the move. Always on the move.
It seems it's refreshing to hear you say stuff like I'm gonna have the answer, or if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna find the answer.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of a lost thing that we've lost on some younger generations. I feel like the old guy poo-pooing on the younger generations, but I know in a lot of our age and older, I mean, a lot of those people say the same thing. Yeah, I don't know it, but if it's my specialty, I'm going to figure it out.
You're going to figure it out. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not going to just like, oh, I don't know that, go somebody else.
Right.
And some people do, and it's kind of frustrating when you run into something like that.
It is. In the trade that I'm in, we do with Midwest Music a lot of stuff we do you don't see, which is installation. So we do a lot of installing sound systems in churches and gyms and ball fields and stuff. And it's just like that. It's like I get calls. You know, my phone number is very public. I am okay with getting a phone call at 7:30 in the morning on Sunday from a church because they can't figure out what happened, what's going on. And 9 times out of 10, it's a button they pushed. You know,
right.
And I always have to tell them like, hey, you're my eyes and you're my, you know, I'm and hands. You're gonna do what I tell you. And I could usually fix it within 5 minutes because I know it's a simple trade. But if I can't, you know, they're just real appreciative because I answered the phone, and they know that I'm going to be calling them later to figure out what happened. I'm going to find out what's going to happen. You know, how can we fix it? You know, I'm not going to leave them go. And that's how we get a lot of our business is that I answer the phone and
it's
I'm
the
not
service side.
Yeah, it's the service is really, really big, and it's not service that's 30 days later.
Right.
You know, it's like if I have to, man, I'll drive there at 8 o'clock at night and fix it. It's important to me. It's super important, and I think that's what makes your business better than the others is that you're willing to go the extra mile.
So have you done most of the sound systems around the area then?
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of things
because you're kind of one of the only ones that really can
in this area. Yeah, there's
locally anyway.
Yeah, there's a few companies that come out of Lincoln and Kearney, and then come up and do some things on the bigger like new construction stuff. You'll see those guys, but I get the phone calls from most of the churches around Norfolk and actually around northeast Nebraska.
That's good though.
I've been in their sanctuary, in their attic, in their basement, in their walls, digging through and putting things up and everything like that. So, and the new thing with when COVID hit is it took it to a whole new vamp. Is everything went from very minor audio and getting things into the internet to we want the next thing. If they were using their phone, now they want to use their computer. If they got their computer, now they want 2 cameras. Now they want 3 cameras. Now they want to move those cameras with a PTZ. That turned into a whole new realm when as soon as COVID hit. That was just nuts. Everybody had to. And so that was new education. I didn't know any of that stuff. And Ty, who was working with me then, he really dove in, and then we just kind of worked, and it was just like going to school again for a few months, and we figured it out and worked through it.
Usually having that initial knowledge, though, helps with even some of the newer stuff. It still kind of works the same way, just more technological based, I guess. Yeah,
it's a challenge. Everything's changing and going a little bit different, and everything's, you know, you're dependent upon the internet and the speed and the provider, and so there's a lot more things involved in the circle than just you.
Right.
But you just gotta keep digging.
Right. We always say you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
To keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When I came in and talked to you, I said, you know, I like to try to keep things local. It's nice to see other businesses or other places, churches, things that need sound systems have come to you. So that's good to hear.
I tell you, that is the biggest thing why I would say why Midwest Music Center is still around is local support. That and a lot of the businesses that are around that survived COVID and even before that, the local support actually in Northeast Nebraska is strong. That's why we're here. And I can't thank the community enough. And it's not just Norfolk, it's just all of Northeast Nebraska. We're a hub. And people come to us because, I mean, and I get a lot of people who come in and they'll say, you know, thank you, you know, for your support, and we're here because we want to support you.
Right.
I hear that actually quite often. I really appreciate it.
You help a lot of the local high schools and stuff with their instruments too, right?
Right. Yeah, we do a lot of fifth grade and band kids. So the kids starting their horns, they come to Midwest Music. So we rent 250 to 300 horns a season in the fall. You know, we see a lot of those go out. We work with a company actually from Florida that supplies those instruments for us. But we do, you know, they come in the store back in the day, you know, again, pre-COVID, I would be, a typical day would be go tune the piano, come back to the music store in the afternoon, get about 25 instruments, throw it in the van, drive to Stewart, Nebraska, do a rental night, which means get in front of the parents by 6:30, 7 o'clock, talk to them for 45 minutes, rent horns, get out of there by 9 to drive back home to run. That was every day from August 25th to October 1st.
Wow.
You know, it was just to the wall nuts other than that. Now, with the new technology and everything, we can rent horns online. A lot of everything's done online, or they come into the music store. So if someone from Atkinson wants a horn, they can actually get it rented, and it's shipped right to their front door.
Do you work with like the school programs to get them to tell the parents, hey, this is where you can go to
yeah, so that's the new thing.
We recommend these guys.
That's kind of an exclusive deal, right? You have
It's not so exclusive. You know, there's lots of other companies, but they choose Midwest Music because, again, that if there's an issue with the horn, we're not that far away, and we can get it taken care of, or get them a loaner or things like that. But yeah, so we do a tremendous amount of that, and then we have orchestra it starts in 4th grade. And then back in the day, I used to do a lot of drumline work with Norfolk High and a lot of other stuff. So I don't do nearly that anymore. I've gotten, you know, the age is coming up a little bit. I'm not old, but
you still look good.
Thanks, man. But when my daughter graduated high school, that was when I decided, hey, I'm done with drumline. I did that for about 20 plus years.
Wow. So I know you said music is really important in your life. Do you feel that music can bring people together or even help people through tragic events or life struggles?
Oh, God, yeah, man. There's no question. Stories on stories on stories on that, man. That's big. Music is, I mean, you think about it, a funeral. What's some real important things is talking about that person, and what's the toughest things they're always doing? They're picking out a song.
Yep.
You know, what's going to heal them? Then music heals, and it helps over and over and over again. And when people are down, they're listening to music, and they're getting ready for a ball game, getting pumped up. What are they doing? Listen to music, man. It's just music does. It's music is, and playing music is the only activity that involves 100% of your brain.
Right.
So when you are playing an instrument, playing the piano, singing, it involves every portion of the brain. It is one of the only things you can do in your life. So it's good. It's good for what we call the endorphins.
Right.
But yeah, it is healing, and it's helped me through a lot of stuff. And it's big. That's important. It's important to me. Super important.
We just talked about that on the last podcast, how music could get, you know, any of us through quite a bit of stuff. So it was kind of cool to hear that from you too.
Sure.
What would you want to tell any kids out there that are thinking about getting into music, if they are scared and afraid, like how to get started?
Boy, that's a good question. You know, it's just it's something that makes you happy, something that you want to do and not made to do. You know, your parents, you know, they'll push you. Maybe they were a drummer or they were a guitar player. No, you can try. But it's mostly just like what's exciting you. You know, what do you see, or what when you're watching, getting online and doing stuff. What do you? It really draws you to watch and say, all right, I like watching piano. Then there are bunches of ways to learn it. And the other thing to understand is there's not just, like I said, there's not just one way to learn that instrument. There's always another way. And here's a couple examples. One, just a couple weeks ago, guitar player down in Kearney, Nebraska, and he was playing at a bar down there. And traditionally, everybody holds a guitar, you know, a certain way. I mean, it's just that way, whether you're right-handed or left-handed like that. Well, this gentleman, he can't turn his wrist with his left hand and chord a guitar. He just can't. He has something wrong with his wrist. So he can't hold the guitar, and it's the same right or left hand. So he has the guitar, and he holds it. Imagine that you see it like a cello player. He was holding it like a cello player.
Because he could keep his wrist.
He could keep his wrist this way. And he was playing, and he was standing up on stage and just ripping, just killing it. And all of us that were there, we were all elbowing each other. You see, look at him. You know, and he wasn't doing it the traditional way. But he figured it out.
Right.
You know, he figured it out. Another one, a gentleman in Norfolk I've known when he was younger, and he's working here at one of the factories, and he lost 2 of his fingers. He was a shredder on guitar. Like, he could shred. And he lost the 2 middle fingers were cut. And so I remember he came in, it was all bandaged up. And I was like, man, dude, what's up in there? He says, my fingers are cut off. I said, "Oh man, are you like you're not gonna play guitar?" And he goes, "No, man, I'll figure it out." And he learned a new way, and he is still now today
still
shredding.
Doing the same thing.
He just doesn't have those two fingers. He just figured out another way.
Wow.
So there's always another way to learn the instrument. So don't get so frustrated in the sense like you have to follow that. I mean, there is your traditional way, and you need to, but sometimes you can figure out a different way. There's different ways to learn the piano. There's different ways to learn guitar. There's different ways to learn drums. There's a lot of different way. Find what works for you. And there's so many outlets. I mean, besides private teachers or teacher in the school, there's with YouTube and online and
you
TikTok.
can pretty much learn anything on YouTube anymore.
There's the new way. I mean, obviously with our new generation, we want what do you call it? Instant gratification. We want to learn it and know it now.
Yeah. I'm that way.
So that's tough with an instrument, but people have now figured that out and say, okay, let's get people interested. And so I'm always watching these TikToks, and they show the piano player with the numbers on the keys and how easy it is actually to play that song, which it is. It's super actually easy, but they're showing how to learn it now, like not take a week,
not to take that and take it to a different song type of thing.
Yeah.
And going back to the guitar, not most guitar players I've seen, not a single one of them hold it like you said, exactly the same way.
Right.
Every famous musician holds it a different way.
Yeah, hold it, or they have a different type of guitar, different shape of guitar, different type of strings on their guitar. They've found what is comfortable to them.
I always see those bass players that have it like hanging so down low. Like, how do you do that?
That's I have no idea. I watch that and I laugh.
Or you got the ones that play it like way up here.
Yep. Yeah. We do a rock band camp at the store. And
I was going to bring that up.
So that's what we talk to them about is the different ways. And it's not just one way.
It's like what's comfortable to you, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So kind of going back to making the leap to purchase the business, you kind of already talked about that. But being a business owner can be difficult at times. You talked about closing the Lincoln store through some of that in that 2011 time frame. How has business been for you otherwise, though, as far as like the business itself?
Business good. Again, local support's been great. The store as Midwest Music Center is strong. We have had a really good foundation built. The COVID years actually were some of our best years, actually, which was weird because.
Did you read my notes?
I don't know. I didn't. I was just saying
I'm just
that's
kidding.
part of it.
That's literally that's like the next question I was going to ask you.
Well, so before COVID, things were good. I mean, we had over 110 lessons going through the store. We were doing heavy installation and everything was good. And then when COVID, that's when we, as a business owner, I can't imagine everybody in the world you had to figure out a different way. Mm-hmm. Well, in music, it was just weird. It was just that, in the first week, okay, when we go into quote unquote lockdown, everybody, or we couldn't do things, So stage one was the vacations all got canceled. Okay, so everybody couldn't go on vacation. So what happened in the first few weeks is we were getting the dads coming in saying, "Man, our vacations got canceled. I've got $1,200 that I'm not actually spent. I got extra 12. I actually, I'm going to be home. I'd like to learn guitar. I'd like to learn piano. Could I get a keyboard?" We were getting dads and moms coming in buying stuff because they had some extra money actually because they had to cancel their trip and they got their refunds. Second stage was when the kids were home for a month. Oh man, I tell you what, moms coming in and saying, "We got to get my kid doing something because they are sitting watching TV all day." And so they had to become the music teacher at the home. So we could not keep ukuleles and guitars and keyboards and kazoos, anything. It was just whatever they could keep to keep their kids busy. Man, we would sell.
Was the supply chain difficult?
That sucked. That was really tough. That's when it just frustrated you. Like here it was in your life, you had something that meant people were buying and I could get stuff.
Couldn't get it in.
Oh man, that was so frustrating. And so that was one frustration. The second frustration was the price increases on everything. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of that in the music world had to deal with the freight containers coming over. A freight for the suppliers that used to be a container that they used to pay $15,000 and they would fill that container with guitars. Okay, that same container went up to $40,000 with the same amount of guitars to go into it. So which that means they have to raise their prices. So it got really, and still is, crazy dumb and frustrating, because things you bought for $45 before COVID now cost me $120.
Right.
You know, so that was real frustrating in that. So yeah, it was like, man, we things, you know, as bad as COVID was for business, man, it was good for the music business. But then that was short lived, because you couldn't get product.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. Not most business people we've talked to, I don't think there's been too many negative impacts from COVID. Do you remember? Everybody we
not
said,
really. But we've talked about it a lot. We were kind of sheltered here in this area.
Yeah.
We had good leadership, decent leadership on the local and state levels, to where they weren't hamstringing everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was
and
also people
ways.
adapted, like
Yeah,
you said,
and adapted
to it.
Yeah.
And I have noticed, at least on the hobby side for sure, and different things, interest side companies, they seem to always had the boom, because people were bored. You got to do something. If I'm not going to hang out with my friends, I'm not going to just sit by myself. If I'm not like just watch the paint dry. I need to figure something out. So, you know, your arts, your crafts, your hobbies, that type of stuff.
We were that. Our biggest hit was lessons. So we couldn't go one-on-one with lessons. And that was a whole new learning curve for some, you know, teachers, and learning how to do an online lesson. That was, I mean, that's difficult.
Did it still work?
It's to a extent. We went from 110 lessons to like 25. So that was pretty tough. And then you don't have that
not
foot
as
traffic.
personable.
Yeah, it's just not. It's unless you're a techie person, you know. There's some people that really figured it out and are still doing it today, and it's great. Most of our guys just weren't that, and so it was tough.
I just don't. I've never enjoyed the Zoom style.
Yeah.
It's just not fun to me. It's not.
It's just that personal touch, especially when it comes to music. I just think,
yeah. And it's a delay, an audio delay, so that's real difficult too. So you're trying, if you wanted to play together with someone, there's that latency thing.
And I could see from your side of it, if you're trying to teach somebody like the piano or something, you could just see how maybe it's hard to see what they're actually doing with their fingers and stuff like that. So it's a little hard to correct something like that. I would imagine
there's a lot of finesse stuff that you can't take care of, and then like say you'd have to move the camera, or they'd have to move the camera, and it was difficult. So that was where we took the biggest hit, was lessons. But otherwise, you know, when our employees were staying, you know, I sent them home a lot. They all got paid. That was a big thing for me, is like, you know, it's not their fault.
Right.
So I made it real important. But I had projects for them to do, and they still were doing stuff to keep the store profitable and keep it busy. And they were still getting paid, even though they were home.
That's good. I'm glad you did that.
How long did you go not being able to do personal or one-on-one or in-home type stuff? Or
it was all based off of kind of following the school. You know, when the schools were back to going in, then we came back into there. So we followed kind of what Norfolk Public and their CDC stuff was, their regulations. As soon as they were kind of 100% back in, then we were rolling back to lessons.
Are most of your lessons done at the store, or do you go do them in person, like at
the store? Yeah, all of them are at the store. Yeah, we have several studios inside the store, and so there are one-on-one half-hour lessons that go on in there. So it's usually late afternoon to early evening, but yeah, it's all in the store.
Through COVID, could you have gone to people's homes if it was something they wanted? It wasn't like I couldn't remember if that was something you could have done.
I mean, technically could have. That was all personal things. So like piano tuning, obviously I'd go to their home.
Right.
So when COVID first hit, I had a lot of cancellations. But as many as cancellations I actually got a ton more.
Right.
People, hey, we're at home. We're actually playing the piano. We're totally okay. You come in. Some people were like, hey, please wear a mask. Some people were like, no, we don't care.
Right.
Right. No. Yeah. If you got a cough in there.
I was that guy saying, I don't care.
We don't care.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember how that worked out. Because if you had a business, if you couldn't do it, but if somebody was doing it on the side,
I think there was like the
it.
15 days. For the 15 days, you probably couldn't have been able to, but
there was that.
I wouldn't imagine that there was a specific thing for you, but everybody for 15 days they were trying to say, don't do anything.
Don't do anything. Yeah.
And then after that, it was kind of.
Yeah, and I remember those first few days of how it was like, like one of our instructors had, they didn't have COVID. Their mom had COVID, so they were connected. They were living there, and so it was like, oh man, we were sanitizing the whole room. We're like, this is all brand new,
right?
And everything. So that was crazy.
Yeah, it was a weird time. Hopefully we don't have to go back there again.
Exactly.
I will never go back to that.
Yeah.
I guess if I die, I die.
Yeah.
It's my time.
I hear, brother.
I'm not going
I
through
hear
that
ya.
weird shit again. You're gonna make me put my work boots in a bag and spray them with Lysol, and then put my other shoes to go home.
Right.
Not happening.
Not happening.
I do, on your lesson side of it, not COVID related, but is your clientele? Do you have more younger people, or do you get some older people?
Yeah,
Wanting to learn.
Probably the majority is younger. So we're talking fifth. Well, I would say we have some piano kids that are probably 6, 7-year-old kids that do come in, and then we have the elementary and junior high stuff. We have seen quite a bit of adults coming in and taking lessons. So I'm starting to say that percentage is going up. In fact, we have one of our instructors, Dave. David teaches actually a band class, and it's all adults. I think they've named themselves the Openers. I think so. It's a doctor, it's a farmer, it's another gal here in town. I don't know what she does in there. A guy who owns a convenience store here in town, and they get together and they're learning like a dozen, 20 songs. Huh. And they're just waiting for someone to say, "Hey, can we come play like 20 minutes before you?" and be the openers.
That's really cool.
It's so cool to see them come in there. Well, actually, I found one of them. I'll say his name. Dr. Davis is in there, and he actually was the pediatrician for my kids back in the day. And so, and he was, when my son was born, he was the doctor. And so, but he's now coming in. He takes a private lesson, but he also comes in and takes a group. It's called a group lesson, but it's all adults. They're all
That's really cool.
They're all, I would say, they're all young at heart. You know, they're not old. They're young at heart.
For some of the older people that, because these are questions that I'm asking because I always wish I would have learned to play the piano. That's the one thing I wish I would have done when I was younger. Is it harder? Is it really harder the older you are to learn stuff like that?
Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes, because you personally, again, it's the instant gratification.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And as an adult, we're just busy. And so when we're trying to find time to practice, the ugly P word, practice, that's the tough thing. It just takes, that moment. But it's learning that you don't have to spend an hour workout, man. If it's 5 minutes, sit down for 5 minutes. If it's 10 minutes, sit down for 10 minutes. It's tough to do that as an adult, and so that's our tough things as we grow. But if you're committed and you're willing to do that, if it's not a daily, every day, or a few times a week, you actually can learn pretty quick. It's pretty.
Can you go from playing a regular sized piano to a keyboard and still learn? Like, I know, aren't keyboards have less keys, or is that wrong?
No, you're right. Keyboards are typically there's 61 keys on smaller ones, and then 72, and then 88 keys is the full. So it's like as it gets smaller, it takes away from the right and the left side, but everything in the middle is the same. So 61, it's the middle of the piano. So yeah, it feels different. It plays a little differently, but the concept is the same.
Okay.
Is in that.
I just wondered if they were going from, when you're trying to learn, you maybe go home and practice and don't have a full piano if you're
right.
If it affected their.
No, I mean, it is in the technique. I would say in the technique. But when you're first learning, it don't matter. You're just trying to learn C, D, F, G, and the sharps and the flats and how to do a chord and stuff like that.
I'd love to learn drums and guitar, so I may come see it. We'll see. But time is something I have less and less of every day.
You're never too old, brother.
No, it's not too old. It's finding the time to do it. Yeah.
There's always a hole in the schedule.
I'll think about it. It'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. Especially getting some frustration down with the drums.
Oh yeah. That's been great for me in my life, and just being a drummer is stress in business and stuff like that. And I've always got the drums that release.
They always look like they're having the most fun.
Yeah, I am. That was always a big thing in college, and actually today when I'm playing, people love to watch me play. Mm-hmm. I'm all in. I don't care. You watch me play. I've got facial expressions and I've got body. I'm in. I'm all in, man.
Do you do the drumstick flips and all the cool stuff?
A little bit, yeah. But I don't try to get stupid fleshy or something like that. But man, I'm in.
Nice. We'll have to come see you sometime.
Yeah.
But do you play a lot? I mean, are you in a band?
Yeah. Mason Michaels is out of Omaha and he's a country singer, so I play a lot with him. And then my wife and I actually have an acoustic duo, Chad and Amy duo. Oh, cool name. But we started doing that. And then we have another lead singer from Des Moines, actually. And so with Mason, It's the same musicians. We just bring in Eric, aka Hank, from Des Moines, and we have Backroad Spirits. Okay. So it's Mason Michaels and the Backroad Spirits. So when we are hired for a thing, if they want a country show, then it's Mason Michaels and the Backroad Spirits. If they want a AC/DC, ZZ Top, Led Zeppelin band, then it's the Backroad Spirits with Mason Michaels. You know, so we might feature that way. So it's really cool. And the guys are amazing. I'm the dirty uncle in the group. I'm the oldest. I don't let them call me grandpa. I'm just dirty uncle.
We'll go uncle, yeah.
And
not
they're
quite
all
grandpa yet.
Plenty younger than me. Christian, what's funny is Christian's lead guitar. He's 24, 3. I've been playing with him since he was 14 or 15, I believe.
Wow.
And when we were on the road, and doing stuff. So I actually took him out on the road and we did stuff. And when he's from O'Neill, great player. And then Ezra Brodesson is from Wayne. He lives in Norfolk now, and he's actually one of the premier bass players in the state of Nebraska.
Really?
I mean, or around. He's just super, super good, super fun. But there's no drama. When we get together, it's all about playing a good show, but it's also about having a good time.
Right.
Like, well, not like getting stupid drunk.
Well, right.
But it's like man, we just have a blast. We go golf. We go golfing. We come in town. Typically we'll go axe throwing. We'll go find the golf course. We'll bowl. I mean, we have a good time.
Good. That's awesome to hear. Has the downtown revitalization helped your business at all with some of the new stuff coming in?
Absolutely. I've been in downtown since '96.
Right. So you've seen multiple iterations of downtown. Oh
gosh, yeah. So I remember the first meeting that really brought it back when the old boys, I call the old boys, that got together. So we're talking McNally and Webb and those guys. They had a meeting in the Kensington, and it was like, hey, it's time. We got to really focus on the downtown, and that was back when it was 2 lanes, traffic, parallel parking, and like that. So I've been through all the stages. And in fact, I used to be on the VPD board, Downtown Norfolk Association. Within that, I was president of the DNA. So I've seen that for over 26, 7 years of this.
Right.
And this new downtown is phenomenal. It is so great to see.
You think it's the best iteration of what we've had since your time here?
Absolutely, no question. It's just the downtown has activity now all day. And the businesses are all on the page now. They're not closing at 5. There are some that are mom and pop that have to, but a lot of them are staying open later or on the weekends. Man, I remember being Norfolk a ghost town on Saturdays at 2. We would be open till 5. I'd go outside and look up and down. There'd be like 4 cars on Norfolk Avenue between First and now, man, you can't hardly find a parking spot.
It's tough.
And there's people walking, and it's a great problem. I love it. I mean, if you can't park downtown, man, I'm happy for you because something's happening downtown. Right. So that's a great thing. So so the downtown revitalization's been great. I'm not a building owner, so I'm not on the involved in like the facade stuff and the buildings. But it's as a business, everything that's been done and to make it look better and everything is to me phenomenal.
Do you like having that entryway where you guys are at? Where you got Napoli's and you and Poppin' Delights now, right?
Yep, Poppin' Delights and Napoli's and Napoli's, however everybody says it different. It's in there. We're in there. It's been great. It's been real cool to have that front foyer there. It just looks good. The store's good. It's enclosed, and I'm surrounded by everything, so my heating bill is great. It's great. It's for as big as it is.
I'm sure.
But no, I really enjoy the location. It's definitely was a great move for us, and it's been great. Geary's have been great of doing a good job of the downtown revitalization, and other people, building owners, and it's cool. And all the activity that we're seeing, concerts, and
there's always activity down there.
Oh yeah,
Just the other day when I came to pick up those cables, it was like 1:45, 2 o'clock, and I had to park around the corner down the street.
Yeah.
And that was in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
So.
What I love is that like Wayne State comes over, or there's other schools that come in, they're actually coming down and doing scavenger hunts downtown, which means they'll pick something from all these different businesses, and you need to go in and get a picture next to it or something like that. Well, they have businesses to go to,
right,
and that are open, and they're choosing downtown as the location. They're not saying go to the mall and do this or go out to the park. And man, they say there's enough going on down there that we can keep these people busy for a few hours.
Right. So my question is going to be on that is, So we're talking about downtown, and then you just brought up the mall. Is there a way at some point that, you know, it always seems to either go mall, downtown, mall, downtown. Is there a way we can make that all kind of cohesively mixed together?
That's, malls are typically, it's the type of business in there. And so you're going to see what I call the big brand name. You know, it's not that mom and pops don't do so well in the malls. It's it's that big brand name. If we can get that into downtown or even the other direction, the mom and pops that can afford to be in the mall. I mean, it's a different expense for the mall because it's not only your space, but it's based off of your sales too.
Right.
So whereas the downtown, you're a business owner or even a building owner.
Right.
So it'd be nice if, you know, the conglomerate, even between the two, if it's bringing mom and pops into the mall, but it's also can that big name come into downtown Norfolk.
That'd be difficult, I think, and I don't know if I'd want that per se.
Right. It's like, okay, do you want Old Navy in a store downtown?
I don't think so.
You know, do you want, you know, that type of stuff, you know, rolling into downtown? It's the niche that I like. If you go into Omaha and Lincoln and their outdoor mall stuff, a lot of those businesses aren't multi-state ones. They're a less popular name that's in that, and it's all about the atmosphere part of it. You're outside, you're amongst the trees and the birds, and you can go eat outside and hang out and then go into the store. So that's what's awesome about downtown is you've got that, and it's just that look now. It's great. It looks really good.
I've never really had it explained that way before. How you said bring the big into, you know, nobody's ever really said it quite like that. And I didn't realize that the mall, you're saying the mall rent would be based off sales too? I didn't realize that.
They take a cut.
They take a cut, yeah. So typically you have your space, and most malls is your end of the month, whatever your sales are, then you have whatever percentage of that also goes
on top of the rent.
On top of the rent, yeah. That is, I don't know if that's everywhere, but I know a lot of places, because we've looked into it. I was like, hey, maybe we should be in the mall. That was part of the deal. It's like, okay, you got the space, but then, hey, if you have a great sales month, they're going to get more.
That makes it difficult.
And some malls may or may not be. I mean, they may if they don't have to.
Right.
If they have enough people that they're filled up, they don't have to do that sometimes. Some places they just have to do it. But I think the mall concept is a little less popular overall. Just overall, it's kind of gone away.
People
that
want
used to be
atmosphere.
the thing when we were younger. Like when I was a kid, let's go to the mall.
Yep.
I've never been to the Mall of America. When I was a kid, I wanted to go. I've I don't really care if I ever go.
Yeah,
like
if you are a mall now, you have to have amazing atmosphere, something great to keep it. They just don't want to go in and see a bunch of stores. Like they want you, like Mall of America, you got a amusement park or something like that. They want the atmosphere,
which I still go to our mall but I go to one store at a time. Like I need to go to this store, so I'm going here today.
Right. What was I gonna say? Shoot. There's something about downtown. Oh, the busyness downtown. Have you seen, with it going the way it has, have you seen a dip in traffic during the wintertime, or is there still quite a bit of traffic downtown?
Oh, man, I tell you, that's what's crazy, man. You would think on a day of a blizzard, you should probably stay home. And there are people that come out and shop. They want to shop still, but we still close. But no, I think in the wintertime, no, it's... If the store's open, I think people are still getting out. If the weather's at least halfway, that's safe to get out like that. We don't, no one's that crazy now in the blizzards. I mean, although I've been down the store and people still knocked on the door, can believe it, or called me. But I'm like, no, man, I'm home. I'm like, you should be at home too. But no, in the winter season, our season is strong and we stay good. And
that's good. I always wondered how that would kind of be down there. Summertime, you see people walking all the time, but I didn't know how the wintertime would go with some of that.
Obviously, less, more getting out of your car and getting to the location
you're going to.
So less within that. But it's still, I'd say traffic is still strong downtown, no matter what.
So you've been a big supporter of downtown concerts, right?
Yes. Yeah, I am part of the events. Yep.
So what has been your role in making sure those get done?
I book, am the person that I don't say I'm the one that books, but I'm the one that does a lot of the research for finding the groups and say who should recommend, and then we have a crew of about 6 or 7 of us then that go together and decide, okay, then let's book this group and let's go like that. Our goal is to typically have a little bit of country and maybe a rock and roll, or then maybe like what we call a wedding party band, something like that. And dueling pianos were fantastic last year, so now it's kind of a staple that we're trying to make sure we have. And but it's definitely family oriented, and each group has to be something where all ages are going to have a time. So we're mentally thinking about a wedding dance.
Right.
All ages are there. All ages have a good time. We're not going to have a DJ, but we're going to have a band that can handle entertaining all those groups.
Were you involved with Mimosa Fest too? Did you help? Okay.
Yeah. I got in on that probably about the second year. Andrew got a hold of me, and then so now I book and line up most of the bands for the.
Because you were the one that kind of wanted to do the 2-stage thing, right?
Yeah. So I got that's the other crazy business I do. I have a rollaway stage now. I had a stage built, and that I rent out. It's called Rollaway Stage, and so I was like, hey, let's have 2 stages. And the mostly why is that when this band gets done on the US 92 stage, it takes about 15 to a half hour to get that band set. So rather than have no music, why not have some short music going on at the Midwest Music Stage? So we have groups that are perform for about 20, 30 minutes on there while we're getting the other stage set. And then turn around the other direction. Then they play for an hour or 45 minutes, and then the other stage is getting a handful of a soloist or somebody set on that one. So yeah, it's been cool, and so it's constant live music from about 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. I think 8 9 p.m.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it this last year. So.
Yeah, it was super fun. Great musicians in there. Mr. Hand killed it at the end of the day. It was a great show.
They're a good band.
And but all day, everybody brought their A game that day. Both stages.
It was good.
It sounded really good.
It was really hot that day, though.
Yeah, the mimosas for some people were going down.
Yeah,
pretty good.
It's good that Andrew stops that at 10, or whoever decided to stop that at 10 is a good idea.
Jessica from US 92 was a big one on that. She was like, we got to cut this over within that, but it's cool because the street clears really fast and everybody goes into the bars from there.
Right.
And Fifth Street Office Bar, Harbor District, they're all packed, right after that because people are still partying.
Right. Exactly. So you've started some, and you mentioned this a little bit ago, but you've started some pretty cool classes and things for kids. The Rock Band Camp is one that I know I had seen. Can you explain what your thought process was on that and how well it's doing?
So we've been doing that for about 16 years. The concept back
16?
Yeah, we've been doing about 16 years. Yeah, imagine I got guitar players.
I didn't realize that.
Nick Weeman, lead guitar player, like Back 40, and Mitch Benson and Paul Lux, and those guys are Ezra. All these guys who are avid guitar players now started at Rock Band Camp.
That's really cool.
So the concept is we bring the kids sign up and they come in, and it's usually about 25 to 40 kids will come in. And then we separate them out into bands on day one. So each band gets guitar drummers, and bass players, and keyboard and drums. So the idea of the whole week, it starts on Monday and ends on Thursday night, is how to form a band, how to rehearse in a band, how to put together music, how to make a show happen, and get it all done real quick. But it's leading them into, hey, you can do this at home. You can make a garage band or something like that. So our goal is we're planting seeds, get more rock bands out there playing and stuff like that. So when they come in, then they're forming the band, they're getting the band name, they're and then getting to know each other, and then usually each year we have a theme on the year. It might be the 80s or 70s, or it might be you have to do at least one country song and this, or you have to take a song and make sure to turn it into your song. So we have something that's going on. And that happens for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Thursday we have the big concert. So even part of the concert concept is the day of the concert, I roll in with the rig. They have to help unload the trailer. They got to help set stage. They got to help put the cables in their spot. And they go rehearse and get ready for the show. They do the show. They can't leave until the trailer's closed. So they have to. And it's not dad. It's not mom or uncle helping carry stuff out. The kids all have to, because I want to give them the experience of this is what it's like to be in a band.
That's how you got to make it. You can't expect
you're
your
not a
roadies
rock
to
star
do
all the
everything
time.
for you.
Yep. It's not rock star all the time. And then we feed them the same way, kind of backwards though, because we start off day one with peanut butter and jelly and bologna, and then day 4 we actually we give them a real nice meal, a catered meal, which is usually the other direction. Usually you run out of money and by the end of the week. But we do. That was part of the concept of it. It's like we tell them that, like, this is what you're gonna eat. Not so well. So today we have mac and cheese, and
that's a really cool concept, though.
That's actually I've never heard that. That's actually really awesome to do stuff like that. You could do that. Yeah. Somebody could take that and do a business camp, an entrepreneurial camp, or something like that.
Do.
Like
there's rock camp, or there's rock. What do they call it? Academy of Rock in Omaha and Lincoln. It's actually it's based off of that.
Huh. So that's kind of crazy. I never really thought about the whole like feed them that way, like, because we talk about it a lot with, and we've got into it with you, and you're an entrepreneur. You wear every hat. I mean, and you sacrifice and you work for free sometimes. You do all this other stuff. So and you eat your bologna, you eat your peanut butter and jelly, you eat your ramen noodles. You know your typical college style, but like as an entrepreneur, you do the same thing. You make sacrifices. So I think that's really awesome.
It's so fun, and it's so fun to see it start from just a little nothing to the kids sound amazing, and then the parents love it.
I'm sure
they love it. We usually someplace and they're drinking beer and watching the kid on stage and having a blast.
I'm sure. Speaking of that, you want another
one? I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay.
I could have been offering you as I was grabbing them.
do you think there are some great potential musicians in Norfolk then, outside of the ones you already named?
Yes. So that's what's really cool. So, okay, Norfolk's history of music is back in the past. I mean, we had an unlimited number of bands in Norfolk. Right? We're talking 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I mean, that world would have been phenomenal to be in. And then,
I always heard really good stories about the Riverside. Used to be
Riverside,
killing it.
Yep.
And then King's didn't they have a really big band there?
Yep, lots of places, and it was a vibe. There was, in any given night, there would be 3, 4, 5 bands performing at bars, and so it was. They would always talk about how they would kind of stagger their starts because they wanted to go see the other band at their break.
So like awesome.
They get out of their. They take a break and they run to the other bar to see the other band for a little bit and then go back and play. And the other band would get on their break and they'd come over and watch them a little bit. So that was a big thing way back in the day. And so now, like when I took over the store, or back when I started the store, late 90s, early 2000, the band, there were a lot of garage bands. There were the Abstract and punk bands and everything. There were a lot. And that started to really filter down. I don't know what. The thing, I want to call it technology, maybe more gaming came involved and more internet, that type of stuff just really hurt live music in the sense of kids want to learn how to be in a band. So until probably right before COVID, early 2000, like 2010, things started to kind of come back a little bit. And then we went into COVID. Now, right after COVID now in Norfolk, there's been a really cool vibe and fad of new bands. It's really happening. There are some great, kids and adults putting groups together, or bands that are coming back together. So like Mr. Hand's playing a little bit more, and Spelling Tuesday's back to playing some more.
I just went to Mr. Hand the other night. I drank my fair share.
They've been one of my favorite bands for a long time.
But you're seeing a lot of other ones over there. I have a lot of my employees that are putting things together and doing some great things through North End in there. So Tyler, my man, my little man down there, he's gonna laugh when he hears that. And so he's really been doing a great job of getting groups together in his own group and like that. And you're really starting to see a lot more. And so we're starting to bring back the 5 for $5. I mean, we got activities of 5 bands for $5. That was a real big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then there's a gap because there weren't enough bands to put together around there. Now we have enough bands. We got Frippery and Neon Lights and Bean Rat and Jam Witch and all these bands that are willing to go out and do 5 for $5s and Spelling Tuesday and We have quite a few, so it's really come back in a big way.
That's awesome.
It's really cool, and they're real passionate. Not only about, playing cover songs, but they're all passionate about originals. They're writing their own music.
Are they? That's
yes,
good. That's what I was going to ask too. Is if they're doing that.
And there's some really good stuff happening, and it's good to hear that stuff. Because they're being creative,
right.
and it's not trying to learn a song. They're putting one together. And they're good. They're good.
Do you think some of that drop off was cost of entry too at some point? Did the cost of getting the equipment maybe go up to a point where it was too much?
Well, let's say maybe less dads pay, because there's always dad buying equipment,
right?
So you got to point that direction. I don't want to say that. I think it's just the instant gratification, the people not wanting to learn guitar. You don't see that's probably a big thing we see right now. It's like you don't see many Eddie Van Halens coming out now,
right.
or Steve Vai's, and that.
I think
it's a different world,
Yeah. The guitar thing, I see it picking back up. I see more. You see it on social media and stuff. A little more, your viral type stuff. People trying to learn the guitar.
Yep.
You see I've seen a lot more resurgence in the piano. It seems like, but there was a while there. Yeah, you didn't really see any of that stuff. And it was the late 2000s to 13, 12, 11, 13. That's kind of when I was thinking that, there was no bands. The bands weren't downfall. Cool.
It definitely went down in a way. 2014, 15, definitely in there, because it went from several garage bands to none. Just none. They just those kids graduated, went off to college, and
that was it.
That was it. Yeah, it was just gone.
What would be the cost of entry? Let's say there's a band that doesn't have any equipment, and they have their instruments but no amps, no sound equipment, no nothing. What would that kind of run?
Well, if we're talking like somebody, if they, let's say you got the guitar player has a guitar and their amp, so a guitar player is going to spend like $200 to $400 on the electric guitar, and could be about the same much on the amp. Drummer is going to spend $500 to $1,000 on that, that portion in there. Now, if you're talking about, that's that world, but then we want to make a band. Well, we got to have a couple speakers. We got to have mics. We got to have cables. We got to have monitors. We got to better have a couple lights. That's probably a couple grand starting. In there. I've got about $30,000 worth of stuff. Rolling through. But if Dad's jumping in and saying, "Hey, all right, let's get my kids," and I'm willing to buy within there, they can actually get quite a bit with a couple grand. Yeah. It's a lot of it nowadays is smaller but mightier, and it's not about the real big bulky speaker in there. A lot of it's a smaller speaker with a lot of nuts behind it.
Right.
So, but I would say a couple $3,000, and you'd have what you need to be able to go into the bar and play a show.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
There's more cost to entry to other things that kids are doing nowadays.
Oh yeah.
We talk about PCs and things, and those are anywhere from.
If you want to play soccer, and the shoes, and
soccer,
the
baseball,
all the stuff, and then mom and dad, going to the tournaments and all the hotel rooms, and that stuff ain't cheap no more. I can't believe in that, but music is it's still affordable,
right?
And there's still a lot of used gear out there. A lot of that stuff still works great. You don't get a lot of used cleats and used football shoes and stuff like that, but you can go get a used speaker and a used guitar and still go after it.
Were they back to COVID? Were people trying to get a bunch out of some of the instruments at some point? Were they really hiking the prices on used stuff?
Yes, because that was probably based off of availability, supply and demand.
Yeah,
that was a big thing. Like a digital, for instance, like a little digital mixer that I used to be able to get was like $400 or $500 piece, and that was like $900, and it was used. And the reason why is they had it and you didn't. It was supply and demand, but you needed it. So there was some of that going on, and then the other side was the new stuff just cost them more to make and to buy it.
All right, we're back. Yeah, you guys know me. About an hour in, I gotta go to the bathroom.
It's a musician thing too. We take breaks. We do a show. We usually play for about an hour, and then it's time. Man, I gotta get off. I
usually gotta stand up or do something. So, tell us a little more that you maybe already haven't about Midwest Music, what you can offer, or any other programs that you haven't talked about already that may not be well known.
Well, going back to what you don't see as you come into the store. Like say our installation work is we do that in the sense like of what we can do there, though, is we're not just putting in a speaker in a church or a new microphone. We are knowledged on live streaming, what it takes to get that going in there, and knowing the details and PTZ cameras. And so we're not doing security cameras. We're doing cameras for churches and schools or something like that, or like different views, and setting that up. So that's a big thing that we're doing there. The rentals, like I said, you don't see a lot of the band instruments around the store because that's going out within, and lessons, and I'm trying to think of all the little stuff we do, but like I said, we do a lot, within that. There's not a lot of like any more hidden stuff, I would say, that we do or don't do, within there. I mean, I think that's kind of it.
Is there any other businesses that you and your wife have in town? You said mentioned something like that before the podcast. I didn't know.
Right. Yeah. So like with Barnhill Piano Service, again, I've been tuning pianos, and then the Premier Batons is a crazy, silly business. I never thought that would happen. And
right. And I kind of cut you off on that one because I wanted to go back to your past. We can talk a little more about the batons if you want. So I think I had asked if they were custom made, and you said not anymore.
They are custom. Yeah,
they are custom made.
Yes. Yep. They are. They're still handmade, 100% American-made product. So it is cut on the handles are cut on a lathe, and the fiberglass wands that we use, which is really funny, is if you're a fisherman out there, Shakespeare is for fishing rods. When you buy a fishing pole and fishing rods, they actually make our wands. It's a solid fiberglass tapered wand, and they actually make. So Shakespeare shuts down they say shut the factory, but they actually make the wand, and so we buy them from them. So it's really cool that comes out of a factory here, and then each one are individually balanced, which means that the weight as you hold it in your hand, so you have the handle you're holding, and then you have the wand out in front. If you were to let go of it, it should float on your finger. So there should be the same amount of weight to the front as there is behind your hand. So that's something that each one of them are individually balanced and weighted, because the density of each wood is just a little bit different. So like we use walnut and bacote and zebra wood and maple and cherry, things like that. So as they're made in the different shapes, they have different weights, and so each one are custom made and like that. So it's really.
You're good. You're good.
God, that one snuck up on me. Beep that one out.
This we don't edit here. That's
how cool is that? Pull my finger. So it's a really interesting story how it happened, how this business came. So what it was is my dad used to work for a company in Wyoming, Nebraska, and they made batons. And this shop a factory was set up to where it was farmers that worked there. So the farmers would go do their chores in the morning, go to the factory, make batons and ligatures and cases and stuff, and then go do their chores at night. Okay, so that was real common that these just milk farmers were working this place. So my dad worked in there in the company, and then that company went out of business. Harrison Hertz I'll say their name, they're out of business. Harrison Hertz was there at the company. And so when they went out of business, I was working at the music store, and we had a band instruments company salesman that would come, our traveling salesman that would come to the store. So Jim Schlapichka was his name, and he is, rest in peace, he's since passed away. But Jim came to the store and said, "Chad, didn't your dad work for Harrison Hertz and make batons?" Yeah, I said, "Yeah." And he says, "I travel store to store to store, and their displays are all getting to nothing, and they don't have anybody custom making. Can your dad do this?" He used to work. I was like, "Well, let me call him." My dad was on vacation in Florida with my mom, and called him up and said, "Hey, do you think you could do this?" He was like, "Yeah, I could turn the wash house." We have this little we call it the wash house on the farm. It's like a 16 foot by 12 foot building that was just, I don't know, it was a wash house. I don't know, it was where we stored stuff. It's like, I could clear that out and we could put some stuff in there. And the next thing you know, within a couple of months, he was making, so we had the batons. So Jim said, "Here's the deal. You formed a business, your dad do it." So he had KB batons, and then we performed Premier batons. And I was with Eric Jones at this point. Eric Jones was Larry, the owner of the music store's son. So we went 50-50 partnership, made the business, did the whole thing, made an LLC, did the whole thing, went to the banker, had to get a bank loan. We went to go to a farmer bank in this town and say, "Hey, we got this idea." And you know what? They said they were like, "You two young entrepreneurs, said, you put together a business plan?" and we'll talk about it. And we did. We put together a business plan. Man, I can't tell you, if anybody's out there looking to make a business, look up how to put a business plan together. Get dot your T's and cross your I's. Get all that stuff. Go to the banker, and they might just give you a loan. They gave us a loan, and we formed a business, got the product on that. So Jim said, if you go to the Texas Bandmasters Association in San Antonio, Texas, and go to that music conference, okay, this is where it's one of the biggest ones that you have in the nation. That's going to tell you if you have a business. If you go down there and you're successful, you've got something. So we did. So we made, I think it was like 200 batons that my dad made. We drove, my wife, Eric, and I drove in my Jeep Cherokee, not a Grand Jeep Cherokee, which overheated on the north side of Texas, drove to San Antonio. And then when we got the booth, we were like late to the conference, so they put us back in the corner. Like we were stuck way back in there. So we're next to all these other people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're all this is kind of working back in here. You get a little bit of traffic and so and that." So we set up, and about 2 hours into it, the word got out. There's a baton manufacturer here. There's a baton. Our booth was literally, there was a row of people in front of there was a row of people waiting to get in, and a row we had 3 layers of people,
holy cow,
waiting to get our stuff. We were like, what the heck do we got? We got gold.
Right.
And everybody around us loved us because we brought people in. But we sold out at the convention, plus picked up 3 music stores, a Japanese distributor, and another one, I think, overseas. We knew we had a product.
Wow.
So we kicked it off from there. And so then we just built the business selling and figured out, okay, we had to price the product that we could sell at retail, but then we want to be able to sell it to a music store, and we want to make money, and they can make money. But then we also had to price it so that we could sell to a distributor who's going to sell to music stores. So where can we still be profitable all the way in? So we did a good job of starting our business that way. So I'm profitable in all directions. But a distributor, obviously, they're not buying one; they're buying 500 or 1,000.
Yeah,
right. A music store typically buying 24 or 50 or maybe 100. And then we are connected up to universities all over the United States. I mean, like everywhere from New York to Texas to California, Florida, every major university I've probably had my hands in selling batons to directly. So that was kind of the world of that, and still it's still a solid business.
So, is that your most profitable business?
No, I mean, I would say it's in there. It's at its slowest point right now, and that's due to just in the stage of where we're at in manufacturing, because my dad had to eventually, he got frail enough, couldn't like that, and passed away. Ty, who was Ty Anderson, phenomenal worker, figure it out maker and like that, but then he moved on to Kansas. So my brother was helping out Daryl. And now we're at a point where what's really cool what's happening is my best friend from high school, Z-Man, love you, man. Jason Zavlonic is what I would call him. No one's going to say Zavlonic. I'm one of the few people that can say it right. So he's actually going to start making them. He's a construction guy within there. Which is really cool is the fact that he lives 1 mile away from the old Harrison Hertz factory. So this all within the last 26 years or something like that has come full circle that it's going to be made within a mile of where it used to be made back in the day.
That's really cool.
So it's pretty cool.
So when you say custom made and everything, I'm assuming every baton is made differently. Like it's whoever makes it is how you're.
No, we have 2 shape. We have what's called Dakota shape, which is kind of like a light bulb kind of looking shape. And then we have what's called scherzo, and it's kind of a tapered straight back. So we still have just 2 shapes, and they're actually on a duplicator lathe. So they're pretty identical as much as possible in the shape.
Just the material's different.
The material's different,
and you that was like your dad would just decide, I think this looks cool, or he'd pick
back in the day
individually.
Yeah, back in the day, that was kind of what we were doing. We were always using different woods. Now we got, just as a business plan like that, we're now narrowed down to just certain woods.
And people order them that way, or they take a smorgasbord of them?
No, typically one-on-one, they'll order a specific one. They'll say, I want a 14-inch Dakota in Purple Heart. So that's within that. So some music stores, they'll call up and they'll give me a PO that has exactly what they want. Other music stores just say, hey, I want 24 variety for 12, 14, 16 inch. They're 12 inches, 14 inch, and 16 inch. So they'll just give me a variety and say, hey, send it. So like a couple weeks ago, I sent 50 to Kansas to a store there. And a few weeks ago, I sent 24 up to North Dakota to a store up there.
And those probably last quite a while.
Yeah. The fiberglass one is, you could literally smack, like, because that's the biggest thing is band directors breaking their batons. They're like getting pissed off at their kids and they're just smacking this thing, hit the music stand.
Yeah.
And that was always when we went to conventions and we would be there. I would take the wand and I have a music stand out there and I would sit there and just bang, but just hit it over and over in the band, and that would draw like, man, I do that with mine and it's gonna shatter, and I just and or I'll bend it. It's fiberglass, so it's bendables. So I'll get a real long one. I'll just we'll bend it down, and they're like, "Why isn't that breaking?" And well, I don't do that on a 12-inch one, but right. But that's within it. So it's a very high density fiberglass wand, solid wood, balanced. It's a cool product. It's a niche market. There's only a handful of other baton makers in the United States, and actually literally in the world, there's not that many, and that's why it can sell worldwide.
That's awesome. Very passionate about that one too.
Yes, as you can tell. Yeah, I love it, and it's gonna just get better. It's I would say it's at its slowest point right now, knowing that it's gonna ramp back up. Yeah, and it's all because of just I'm being careful. I can't make them as fast, or my supplier of that can't make them as fast as they used to, but we're getting ready to do that. So we're at the point now we're going to get it back up to where, hey, if I need 500, can you do it? And it's yes, I can make it happen.
Great. That's awesome to hear. I'm glad things are going well for you. You're a really good dude. Andrew was the one that I had you on the list anyway, but Andrew had really pushed to reach out to you. So
Andrew is a good guy. I'm on his speed dial.
Yeah, for sure. You probably helped with the setting up all the.
Yeah, he's always coming like comedy shows. I'm helping him, making sure everything's set up and everything like that. And then anytime he has a festival or something going on, he's calling me. He just called me yesterday. He's got something going on this summer, and he's like, "Hey, can you find me a band?" We talk pretty regular through the week. So
that's good.
He's a good man. He's a good guy.
He is. Is there anything else about you or about any of your businesses that I may have missed that you want to get out there to the world?
I know. I mean, yeah, you've done a good job of what I want to do. Like I say, the new thing with me now is the rollaway stage. Yep. That was probably a thing that I got a lot of calls for in the last several years of, hey, man, who do you know that has a stage? And it's not like I can do it. It's not for a big concert. It's like all these people having street dances, and they're bringing in a semi-trailer. As a band, we're cool with the semi-trailer. We'll survive on it. Man, it's a bear to get up and off at it, and it's always, if it don't have any weight on it, it's actually curved. It's not flat, and it's not very wide. So I work with Eric from All Star Trailer, and been talking to him for several months, and we went through several different designs, and finally came up with a cool one. So we got it's a 24 by 8 foot stage, so 20-foot floor long single axle. So literally it's aluminum, so I literally can move it by hand.
Really?
So it's really cool is that it's close to positions. I wanted something that can do that, because that was the other thing is you'd come in and they have to bring the skid loader, or they have to bring the semi and get the stage exactly where you want, or bring the skid loader in to get it was just a bear. I wanted something that one person or two people could just move it into a spot.
Right.
So it moves into a spot. And then it's got an 8x8 extension off the center backs for like the drummer. So so
you're not 8 foot wide. You can actually be 16
it's actually
feet
16.
wide.
Yeah. So I got an 8x8 middle section. So the drummer, that section, it's 16 feet then from front to back. Or you can turn it the other way and make that a catwalk if you want to go that direction. And the lead singer can be out there and everybody else is back. And then it's got a canopy. It's like shade. You're like, well, the nice thing for bands is shade.
Right.
Like it gets set when you're setting up at 4 PM on a July day.
Gets hot.
It sucks. Yeah. So it's got a canopy that can go up, and it sets up and tears down super fast. I can set it up in 45 minutes and tear it down in 35. Wow. So it's that's what it's done. So we have rollaway stage. Anybody needs a stage out there?
What are you charging for that?
Does it anywhere from $250 to $500. Yeah,
that's
actually,
not bad at all.
Yeah. So usually about $500 for a day, and then if you need it for a couple, then it's like $500 for the first day and $250 for the days after, because it's there already. Or if you're doing more of the work where we're not setting it up, we bring the price down a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to keep it affordable and set within there. So we're basically about $250 to $500 to rent.
You renting that out quite a bit?
Yeah. This last summer it was used a lot, and I'm already now probably over half of all the weekends between June and September it's going out somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. So, and I'm hoping to try to get all the weekends.
Right. I'm sure. Yeah. I tried to do a little research. I mean, I knew kind of your background, so it wasn't too hard for me to come up with questions. But
sure.
I just wanted to make sure I kind of touched on everything. I didn't miss nothing. Or
yeah. No. Yeah. It's within there. Live music thing is I love playing. Like I said, the thing with Mason right now is super exciting. Mason's great, and the band and like that, and he's got original music out there, and he's just getting ready to release 13 new original songs. So we talked about, hey, does he do an album, or when we're not going to do that. He's going to do it a little at a time to kind of lengthen it out like that. So we have a lot of new music going out with him and like that. So enjoying playing those guys. Super fun playing.
Do you guys play in Norfolk much?
Yeah. So we've done some of the outdoor shows. Last summer we did one of the concert series downtown. We did play a lot at District Table Tap and the Harbor and maybe some of the clubs here in town. Actually, El Dorado Hills. We love playing out there. And then a lot of shows we were doing is county fairs, big shows for the summer like that. We did the Wayne County Fair the last couple of years, and this summer we're the Sarpy County Fair, the Lancaster Super Fair, we'll be doing the Hoskins Q125. A lot of like bigger.
You're a busy dude.
How do you get all that done? Dude, sleep is boring. You guys got to figure that out.
Yeah,
it's like
I agree. I mean, like I said, I keep adding more and more stuff, so I get it. I'm getting there too.
Yeah. So it's good. Good music. Everything I do is 100% music. Time I wake up and time I do go to bed. I'm fortunate enough that I'm involved. Everything I do it's music, man. It's just if I can sell it, make it.
That's really cool that
fix it
with your love for that you were able to basically gear your whole life, make money around that subject.
Yep, it's and you have to in the music world. You definitely, if you want to put a decent roof over your head, have a decent vehicle and like that, you got to do a lot. Yeah. And so you get into the service world. You got to figure out how to sell it, figure out how to teach it. If you can do it all, you can make some good money. Yeah, I mean it's good money.
So, just by listening to you here, as long as we've been going, I think you were going to get this handled, even if you hadn't gone to college and done a music business and everything.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think? I mean, do you see that?
Yeah.
Has your degree done a lot for you? Do you think, other than making I would say it helps with the getting into it, because you obviously got introduced by your professor that started you down this path. But I think you would have found that the way it sounds, the way you just have that spirit about you, you were going to find it out, figure it out no matter what.
I mean, I'm not going to say, you shouldn't, but man, when you are after it or doing college or stuff like that, you find the passion. Just don't do it. Just don't go through the motions.
You're targeted. At least your schooling was targeted.
Yeah.
So you were definitely targeted on what you were going to do. We
talk a lot on this podcast where people are going out and getting degrees that aren't necessarily needed for them in what they, obviously college is a good thing for certain things, but what he's saying is, do you think you could have been in the same spot with maybe not doing that? I
would say, yeah. I think that passion that I have and the work ethic, if you can figure out a strong work ethic and figure out you don't have to have a teacher in front of you and teaching you it. You can go find that answer now with the new world as is. Now, at the beginning of my college, man, that was just when internet was coming out, man.
Yeah, right. So it was a little bit different time back then.
We had square tires.
Well, college also wasn't $35,000 or whatever a year, whatever it is.
Yeah, it was different within there. It's frustrating in the sense on that is, I tell even my employees and I tell the young kids like that, you got to remember that the instructor. You think they're so much in trouble. They're teaching you, but you're paying them. Right? Yeah, like it's like you buying something. You're paying them. So make sure you're getting everything from them like that. So you're a little bit more in charge than what you think. But like I say, if you have a passion, you have a drive, you don't 100% have to be into that college class, within that.
I look at it now as like you're looking at 25 on the cheap end, $25,000 a year.
Yeah.
What if we as a nation, as a people, started saying, hey, let's give $100,000 business loan to somebody. If you come up with a good business plan, not everybody's an entrepreneur. We kind of talk about that a lot. They can't be not everybody can be an entrepreneur. It takes a certain breed.
Well,
but I think that could get you down the road. You could buy yourself $100,000. You could go be a welder or something, or a construction guy. Buy tools.
Yep.
I mean, and you can learn a lot.
You'd be a lot more in there. That's my wife's a teacher, and I imagine if you had like the student teaching years, that student teacher goes into the classroom. Guess who the student is still paying the college.
Yeah.
Why isn't that teacher getting that money?
Right.
It's like that I'd rather be underneath the umbrella or underneath the wings of that teacher and learning off of that than the classroom teacher who's not in the classroom.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's my little 2 cents in there. I mean, there's still a need, for the college, yada yada. But I get what you guys are saying. Like, there's still a flip around way that could be better.
Yeah, we're big into the trade schools, and obviously we know that college is necessary for certain jobs. Right.
I like to say the STEM field basically is it's needed,
and teachers are needed too. As long as they're passionate and are teaching
the right stuff.
So
yes, yeah, and there are fantastic teachers.
There is. I completely agree with that. We're going to move on. So if there's nothing else that you feel you want to get out about yourself, we're going to get a little political.
I'm cool.
Okay.
Game on.
With an election year coming up, how do you feel about where the state of our country is right now? And do you feel that we are being well represented at the federal and state levels?
Oh, man. No. No.
That's a common theme, by the way. It's usually a no.
I mean, when you're friends with political people too, you're just like, God damn it. But no, because I've been through this, man. I mean, I've seen, and it scares me because I've been through, like I talked about in 2000. This stuff is lining up like in 2009, 10, 11. My business, man, I shouldn't be here.
Right.
My banker, I had to tell, man, I needed help, and he was like, "Man, you should close your doors." And I literally told him to screw up. I mean, and
you can swear if you want to.
I told him to fuck off, and so, and they kept me going, and I do think, but on the political side, I'm telling you, that's why I suffered. And if things are going, here we are in this crazy months ahead of us, and going into this year ahead of us, is that going to hurt again? And it's out of my control. I did nothing different.
Are you suffering more now than you were 3 years ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's the truth, people. I mean, just as a businessman, yes. I mean, I don't know all the exact answers but that there are answers of like, this is why.
Right.
And it's tough. It's tough.
Do you feel that the systems that are in place still work in today's time? And what I mean is the two-party system.
Oh, sorry. I just said that was my headphones. Sorry, that was me banging this thing. Saying, yeah.
That's a meme right there.
How do I? To answer that, to say I just wish we were. I wish we were just all American. Yeah. I just wish. I'm tired of the D and the R side. I'm tired of every and then making other sides. I just wish we all could make a decision off of what's right. I mean, and what's wrong. I mean, I don't understand why there has to be another side. If I don't care which side it is, the Democrat side or Republican side, whatever it is, whatever side it is, I'm just frustrated that if that side has the right answer, the other side's object, they have to disagree.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that. I just think if it's the right idea, then we go.
Can we get back to a point where there's truths and falses?
Right.
Like. And agree on what is actually true. Like a universal truth should never be questioned. Like, and that just frustrating at times.
Yeah.
And Vance brings up a lot of the time we talk about the uniparty, where they're all. I mean, all those guys, even on the D or the R side, they're all friends. They all live in the same city. Their kids go to school together. They're making deals behind closed doors.
Right.
Right. So it's really there really is no two sides. They're all on the same side. They're just you vote for my thing, I'll vote for your thing, and we'll all be. They'll all be happy. The rest of us are going to suffer.
Yeah, I know guys
we get left holding the bill.
Yeah. I go guys who, their first time in being a political of that side is, and they're green, they're walking in, and I knew and they came back after the first day, wanted out because they literally got their butts chewed because they spoke to someone on the other side.
Yeah.
That's just, they were just human for like that. Well, they were new. They didn't know they shouldn't. Well, they quote unquote shouldn't. Why don't you? But they spoke to someone and they got pulled aside and got ringed because they spoke to someone on the other side. Why is that
on the state
wrong?
level or was that on the federal level?
State.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because on the federal level, they can talk to each other all the time. They're fine. State level, I can see that where that could that could happen.
And that's wrong. I'm just like, God, I mean, all they just had was a conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
I always talk about compromise. Vance always thinks it. So we're both Republican. And I always say that there needs to be compromise on both sides, but he thinks if we keep compromising, it's too far.
Right.
And we've already gone too far.
The compromise needs to happen both ways. That's kind of my only point.
Yeah.
It's like,
you just don't want to see
I
us go too far, is what it is.
I keep becoming more and more like I keep moving to the left, or the Overton window keeps moving left. Like, let's keep the middle in the middle.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And then we can fight on the edges or whatever, but why are we keep moving? And I don't want the window. I want it to get back to the middle. I'd be happy with that, but I wouldn't say, no, the Overton window needs to keep coming right. It needs to keep coming right, because I don't want that.
Right.
Because I think a good push-pull is healthy, and I've always felt that way. Like, Zach and I will have arguments all the time about everything, and we'll sit and have a beer and argue, and then
we're fine the next
we're
day.
over.
But you're both still trying to figure it out. Like, what's the right way to figure it out?
Like, we just want to have it's just a conversation. It's never bad. It's just like we're trying to find the answer.
And and in today's world too, like me as a business owner, I can't go on and doing a rant on social media on something on my political side. It could kill my business just because I have a point of view.
You should be able to. That's frustrating. That's what I don't.
Exactly. It's like that. You shouldn't hate me. It's just that, but I'm not going on the crazy side or like that. But I do know that there are examples on examples on examples on examples on examples and came on of that happening, and that business is gone.
Yeah.
Someone did.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That kind of brings up something I've said a lot. I think the worst thing social media has ever done, and I've always felt this way since day one, because I was right at the beginning of Facebook. I was a freshman in college, and you could only get it in college early on.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think my sophomore year, it got moved into high schools, and then moved into public after a couple years after that or whatever. So I kind of went through that whole deal. My first Facebook account was actually unl.edu was on my first email on it. But that's a whole nother deal. But I've always said the worst thing Facebook, social media has ever done was it gave an unchecked voice to people that probably shouldn't have an unchecked voice.
Yeah.
Because they have ill intentions, or they're not educated on something and they just assume that like my voice needs to get out there. And then those are the ones where you find the uneducated voice. And when I say uneducated, they're just not versed in what they're talking about. And they're wrong. They're not speaking the truth. And then, or like you said, somebody is going to have a rant, and rants are fine. It's our First Amendment. You're allowed to say whatever you want, but somebody's going to come with ill intentions and create a storm of just negative energy towards you to try to cancel you, quote unquote, attack you, type of stuff like that.
Yeah, and the other side too is the extreme of social media is if you have that popular person, and just based off of their popularity, if that's the way their point of view is, then their fans, their people are going that way just based off of
no matter what.
It's not whether it doesn't matter what they say, because if they say that, that's the way I'm going to vote, or that's the way we're going to do. And it's not about what they personally think or what's going to be good for them personally.
Yeah. And going back to affecting businesses, that's half the reason why we didn't start this podcast or the other podcasts that we have as quickly as we did, because
we're kind
I'm a
of
business
afraid
owner
about
in town.
that.
Yeah, sure. But then I was finally like, you know what? At some point, you can't live life being scared. And
right.
I think it's important to get. I like this podcast that you're on. It gets light to the people of Northeast Nebraska.
Right.
are the ones a little more rough. You know, it's a little more fun, you know, political news based. But this one I think is the one that you're on. I'm glad you came on. I think it's important.
Well, again, as the example, let me give the example back in the day when it was. It was the Obama stuff. I'm not whether it was. And I voted. I'm sorry. I voted for Obama.
Yeah, you can say what you want.
Okay, but I thought it was amazing. Problem is, the end of his term killed me. It hurt me badly. Here's the example: that was at that stage, whatever year it was when the government shut down. All the tax returns were late. So in other words, what happened in our business is all the schools and everything didn't have any money that could be brought to them, so they had to put their hands in their pocket. Then in January, when everybody did tax returns, and then through April, tax returns didn't happen. You didn't get returns till like August that next year. Guess what? The general public's hands went into their pockets. So, for example, we would do sound installations. So every month I'm doing 1, 2, or 3 of them. The job might be $1,000 job. It might be a $30,000 job. Okay. From October, November, December, January, February, March, April, we finally did one in May. 0 installs. Not one from October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So think of that cash flow up to, let's say, on average of $20,000 a month.
Right.
For that many months, gone. Snap of a finger. Everything up to October was absolutely fine. And then the election stuff and all the government shut down and then elections and everything. And it just about put me out of business. I mean, literally should have, but the only thing that saved me was the bank.
Yeah.
And then
that should never happen.
Yeah, I know. Because we were doing really well.
Right.
We were doing really well up to that. And it was out of my hands.
That's crazy.
Yeah, killed.
Hopefully, I worry daily and I pray daily, basically. Like we can't go through that shit again.
No,
and I almost feel like it's gonna happen.
We're close.
I don't know.
We're close.
We're right on that bubble.
I mean, we survived COVID. I mean, COVID was a thing, but then the government gave money. You know, there was some money tossed back to help there.
Yeah,
and in that, but when there's no help. If it gets to the point to like when there's no help, everybody just stops spending and the government stops giving.
Yep,
we're hurting, and it's going to hurt really bad.
You're not wrong. Anything else on the politics side you want to get off your chest?
Oh man, I tell you, is this like confession?
It can be.
No, man, no.
I mean, I got plenty more bush lights over here.
We got plenty of bush lights.
Yeah, man. No. But I'm always been and will always be on the safe side of political side. I don't bring in politics to conversations when I have people like that. That's not fun. I mean, in this type of situation, great. It's fun. You know, it's within there. But if a customer comes in, starts to being political and stuff like that, I don't take a side. You know,
you deflect. I do the same thing.
You got to, and it's just comfortable, and you're out and about. But when you're something like this and comfortable, yeah, let's chat.
It's okay to chat a little bit. We're not going to make you say anything you don't want to say. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. No, it's good. Very good.
Where do you see yourself going in the future? Are you enjoying where you are? Do you see yourself staying in Northeast Nebraska?
Yes. One of the changes is I don't see myself with the music store forever. Actually, putting it out there kind of officially in 2024 is I am looking for someone to buy the music store.
There you go.
Hey world.
More breaking news on the
news. Okay, let's break that now. Let's put this in the right thing because this happened to a business I saw just a couple weeks ago. The store is not closing.
Okay, yeah, the store's not closing.
World, I said I'd like to sell the store.
Yeah, he's not closing.
The other way, because I just heard a local business downtown was saying, "Oh yeah, we're looking for a new, we're looking to sell the business," and everything underneath it was, "Oh, we're so sad they're closing. We're so." The store is not.
We're looking for
closing.
new owner.
I would like to have a new ownership.
You probably run it for 10 more years if you have to, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the deal. I'm not in a hurry. And the reason
We've
why
kind of talked about that with other people on this podcast. Like they're always looking for somebody to take over.
Right. I don't want the store to go away.
Right.
It's a staple. It needs to be here.
And you look at it as I want somebody to come in that I can teach them the ropes and we can get this and keep set you up for success.
Exactly.
While I'm able to set you
Right.
up for success.
Yeah, I mean, do I have a goal? Yeah, I want 2 to 4 or 5, 6 years. I'd love to have the store sold by then, but is it going to happen? I don't know.
Right.
And I'm not going away. So, belch again. So that's the big thing. Is okay, but the reason why is because I want to ramp up Premier Batons. I want to go back to focusing because the music store does take away time of what I need there.
Yeah, because you're down there a lot.
Yeah. Piano tuning is a service I love and enjoy and really do, and it's good money, and I want to do a lot more of that. So there's a lot of more things where in a situation like, hey, and I can go out and tune pianos from 9 in the morning, and then, okay, I've done it 2, I'm going to go golfing.
There you go.
Or I take my fishing pole with me, and I'm out west, I'm going to go find a pond, and like that. I want that time, So the music store does take a lot of my time.
Right.
And so it's in there. I am super lucky. Can't say enough about my staff. No, I am very, very lucky. Alexis and Tyler and Trevor and Elijah and all the crew that are down there, and they're all kick butt people. And I can be out of the store and they run it. So I'm super lucky there. But I'm at that point. I've been doing it 26 years. I mean, a long time. And so the goal is to get that, sold to someone else, right? And then I can stay refocused and build up and ramp up my other businesses who have taken a back seat since I've been with the store.
Right.
So
it's good to hear you want to see it be in a good spot to be passed on to.
Yep. Yeah, I want
to keep it going.
That's important. I know a local music store in Norfolk is important. We have a lot of music stuff happening. It can be successful and be supported very well. And I think people would be very disappointed not to have something in Norfolk of that.
I would agree with you, for sure. That's kind of where those are the questions I had. If there's anything else you want to get off your chest, you've got the mic, you've got time.
Man,
we don't put a time frame on this podcast.
So there's this one time I actually heard a kitty. And I'm not no, man, dude, I'm excited for you guys. I think you're doing a fantastic thing. I think I love the concept of, where you bring it in Northeast Nebraska variety. Like when I looked over your podcast stuff of who you're bringing on, wow, like every direction, that's
what
really
we're trying
cool.
to do. Yeah. And here soon, we're going to be bringing on all the, I shouldn't say all, about 75 to 80% of the council candidates and mayor
Awesome.
candidates. So be on the lookout for that.
That's cool. Oh, absolutely, man. I'm a fan. Like I said, I just listened to now. I've got something new to listen down the road. I'm excited. A lot of times as a musician, I don't listen to music actually going down the road because I get tired with it. But podcast is cool.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you giving us some good words and helping us out with some cabling and stuff. And maybe now that I know you do some of the other stuff, you might have to come help us with some of the studio stuff too. The stuff that I really can't.
Yeah, man. And doing some different. I see you got a video going on here like that. We can talk about.
I forgot to turn the light on. See,
see, you're learning. It's all good.
I'm learning.
Just shadows. Yeah. But different ways to put different views and how to switch between cameras. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I kind of know that. It's just getting it all to
work
to get to that point.
Yeah. Once the studio's almost done downstairs. Once it's done, I'll be able to tinker and play and once it's all set up.
Hey, people out there, if you're looking at a great place to sponsor, you should sponsor a podcast.
We would love that. I appreciate that.
Love that plug.
Love that plug.
Brought to you by could be
because pretty soon we're gonna have space behind us to put some advertising and
that's awesome.
And beer companies.
Yes,
I mean.
We could be
drink
drinking
a lot of beer.
Drink a lot of beer, and I bet you would even do a shot every once in a while.
We would. Yeah,
it would be possible. I mean, you might be able to twist my arm.
Yeah. But thanks to my co-host Vance Neidig and producer Ryan Battershaw. He didn't say a whole lot today, but that's okay. He was running the board. He's making sure everything's going good.
Everything's good.
Without them, the show would not be what it is. Huge thanks to our guest. We really appreciate you coming on, Chad.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Maybe we'll get you on again.
I hope sometime down the road. It'd be great.
Maybe you'll bring it. Maybe you can give us a musician or something.
Yeah, I tell you what. If you want to do some, if you'd like to do an interview on some live original music stuff, there's some great stuff that's available right now. I can hook you up with.
We would love to do that. That'd be awesome. Amazing,
dude. It'd be really cool.
Another variety we could definitely do.
Yeah.
But make sure to go check out everything Midwest Music has to offer. Chad is very knowledgeable and very happy to help with any of your music and audio and setup needs.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.